Welcome to another episode of Culinary Alchemy. Are you looking for a fun Thanksgiving dessert to make? Try these pumpkin cheesecake streusel bars. For this recipe, the equipment you'll need is a food processor, a 9x9 2 inch square metal baking pan, which I've generously buttered, and a parchment lined sheet tray. Let's get started. Turn your oven on to 350 degrees, and while it's heating, gather your ingredients for your streusel crust and topping. For this, you'll need 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 3/4 cup of packed golden brown sugar, a half teaspoon of salt, and 4 ounces of chilled unsalted cubed butter. You'll also need 1 cup of pecan halves and 3/4 cup of old-fashioned oats. Take your first 4 ingredients and place them into your processor. And then pulse them until they resemble coarse cornmeal. I've pulsed this around 20 times, and this is what it looks like when it resembles coarse meal. Next, take your 1 cup of pecan halves and add them to the processor, and still using the pulsing motion, pulse them until the nuts are chopped. Finally, add your old-fashioned oats to the processor and process the mixture until it's moistened. We'll go just a little bit longer. You want it nice and moist, but you don't want it to clump. So this is what it looks like when it's nice and moist. Take your crumbs and dump them into a bowl, and then measure out 3 cups of the crumbs and place them in your prepared baking pan. Take the remaining crumbs and place them on your prepared sheet tray. Place the crumbs on the sheet tray into your preheated oven and bake them until they're golden for about 12 minutes, stirring them once halfway through the baking time. Then press the crumbs in your pan firmly into the bottom of the pan. This is what forms the crust. Set those aside, and when the crumbs come out of the oven, place your pan with the crust into the oven and bake it for approximately 30 minutes until it too is golden. No need to wash the food processor because we're going to use that again for the filling. When your crumbs are ready to go, this is what they should look like. They should have this nice golden color, and you want to make sure that they're really crispy. You can do the taste test just to check. And they are, because they're the final layer of the bar and they don't get cooked again. So make sure that you cook them all the way through. Set those aside, and next step is to prepare our pumpkin filling. For this, you'll need the same food processor that you used before, and we're going to put all of our filling ingredients into the food processor and blend them until they're smooth. For this, you need 3/4 of a cup of pumpkin puree, 1 egg, half a cup of sugar, 8 ounces of softened cream cheese, and 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. So the timer just went off for the crust. About 30 minutes has gone by, so I'm going to check the crust to see if it's golden. And it is, firm to the touch. And you want to maintain your oven temperature. And while the crust is still warm, take the pumpkin filling that you just made and spread it evenly over the crust. Once it's evenly spread, place it back in your oven and bake it for about 20 minutes until it's set and risen slightly around the edges and has a dry appearance. Then you'll be ready to put on the final sour cream topping and crumbs. The 20 minutes are up and our pumpkin filling is nice and set and has risen slightly around the edges, as you can see here. And now we're ready to make the sour cream topping for our next layer. For this, you want to take 1 cup of sour cream and put it in a small bowl, along with 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And just give that a nice stir till it's completely combined. And then spread that evenly on top of the warm pumpkin filling. And make sure to maintain that same oven temperature, the 350 degrees, while you're doing the sour cream topping too. Okay, so once it's nice and evenly spread on top, place it back in your oven for about 5 minutes, just until it sets and bubbles around the edges. So our sour cream topping is set and slightly bubbling around the edges. And now we need to let it cool completely before we can sprinkle on our streusel crumb topping. Our bars are completely cool. This process took about a half an hour. Now we're ready to put on our streusel crumb topping. Just want to scatter that on the top and gently press it in to the sour cream layer. Voila! Now they're ready to go into your refrigerator. They have to chill for about 2 hours, a minimum of 2 hours actually, until they're cold. and then they'll be ready to be cut and eaten. This recipe has a couple of steps, but they really are very simple. The most difficult step is waiting for a couple of hours before you can sink your teeth into these really delicious holiday pumpkin bars. See you back in a couple of hours. Now that the bars have chilled for 2+ hours, they're ready to be cut and served. First, I took a spatula and went around the edge to loosen the bar. Then I took a knife and cut the bars into 16 equal pieces. It's a little tricky for whatever reason to get that first one out, so you might have to sacrifice it. Once I got the first one out, I took my offset spatula and went under the bars to release them. This is one of the handiest tools that I have in the kitchen. I love it because not only does it allow you to get under things, but it allows you to get into a pan and spread things evenly and have enough room to do so. So if you don't have one of these, it's a great thing to put on your holiday wish list. So now it's ready to try those bars. What a perfect combination of textures and flavors. Have fun making these bars this holiday season. See you next time.